Good morning. Welcome to the PHLpreK application session for new provider locations. I'm Carrie Lee. I'm the PHLpreK contracts manager at PHMC. Helping me lead you through this presentation is going to be our contracts coordinators, Theo Margulies and Brittany Maines. And you will also hear from the Spark Quality Support Center. Before we get started, we wanted to make subtitles available for those who want to view them in English, Spanish, or any other language. So I will share right now. You're going to see that little black box pop up. You can press open and the words lead translation feature will open. If you don't want any translations, you can just press ignore. So as we get started, please be sure to mute your audio if you haven't already. If you have any questions, you can enter them in the chat box and we'll have breaks along the way. So we'll get to as many as we can. All application materials can be found on the PHLpreK website and are live now. I'll put that in the chat in just a minute. And all the information we reviewed today is going to be in that application. We will also post slides and the recording of the session on the PHLpreK website. For our agenda today, we'll review the application process and discuss performance expectations of PHLpreK providers. We'll also talk through how to complete the application, provide tips, and demo the online application as well. And again, please write your any questions that you have in the chat box. We'll start off with an overview of PHLpreK. PHLpreK launched in January 2017 and is funded by the Philadelphia Beverage Tax. We started with free pre-K to 2,000 students at 89 locations across the city and are now serving 5,250 students at over 220 locations this year. We offer 5.5 hours of daily education for 108 days over 10 months. And 13,000 students and families have participated in the PHLpreK program since inception. The mission of PHLpreK is to increase access to quality early learning by offering free pre-K programs to children regardless of their family's income. The commitments of PHLpreK are increasing center quality and providing instructional resources, offering health resources and conducting developmental screenings, supporting staff growth and development, and promoting kindergarten registration of transitional activities. We've seen tremendous growth over the years, as I just mentioned, about 160% growth since inception, from serving 2,000 children that first year to now serving 5,250. PHLpreK is also focused on high quality seats. We've increased from 56% of providers being high quality to now 96% of current PHLpreK providers are high quality this year. And here is a snapshot of children and families in PHLpreK. 80% of children identified as non-white, 70% are below 200% of the federal poverty level. 13% speak a language other than English at home. We operate in 43 zip codes across Philadelphia at 62 locations with approximately 1,411 seats in priority zip codes. This is the structure of PHLpreK. We are overseen by the city's Office of Children and Families. Public Health Management Corporation, or PHMC, serves as the administrative intermediary. The Spark Quality Support Center provides various supports to PHLpreK providers, which you'll hear about in a minute. And then we also have the school district as a program partner, and they serve as the contract entity for some of the PHLpreK providers. So PHMC is, again, the administrative intermediary. So some of our roles are include the administration of contracts with providers. So we're responsible for issuing notice of awards, contracting directly with providers, and allocating slots. We're responsible for enrollment oversight, the dispersing funds to PHLpreK providers and overseeing monthly invoicing, for data collection, management, and analysis. We support all fiscal reporting requirements and help providers meet contract deliverables. We maintain strategic partnerships with partners within the pre-K system and outside organizations to ensure that we're providing the best supports that we can to PHLpreK providers. And finally, we're responsible for reporting out on outcomes of the PHLpreK system. And now I will pass it over to Lauren, who will tell you about the Spark Quality Support Center.
Good morning, everyone. Lauren Merrill. I'm one of the coaching managers with the Spark Quality Support Center. I'm placing our website in the chat for you. At the Spark Quality, so the Spark Quality Support Center is responsible for delivering high quality support services directly to providers participating in the City of Philadelphia's PHLpreK program. And we do that in a variety of ways. We have a team of specialists who are content experts in a variety of fields, such as early childhood education, business, family and community engagement, health and equity and inclusion. And they serve as our professional development facilitators and can also provide some specialized consulting alongside the coach. Another benefit that we have is the coaches, which are part of the Spark team to support providers to the level of their choosing. The coaches offer one-on-one coaching. They can provide assessments and can also act as a concierge to help guide providers to the resources they need. Also, although coaches are a great go-to resource, all of the providers also have the ability to access our resources independently through the website, if that's what suits your needs. We have our website, which is called the Knowledge Center, and that is available online and accessible to providers 24/7. The Knowledge Center serves as an online library containing key information, self-assessments, on-demand trainings, and various resources such as job aids and templates. We also have the help desk. So if providers need guidance to resources for specific needs, our help desk and our chat feature are available during regular business hours. Providers simply share the resources they're looking for, and the help desk will guide you to all the available resources most closely aligned with that need. That could include content from the Knowledge Center, professional development trainings, peer learning circles, and a variety of other options. And lastly, we have our events calendar. The events calendar is housed within the Knowledge Center and is where providers will find Spark's schedule of professional development trainings, peer learning circles, and community of practices, which are live trainings and can be in person or virtual. This content is developed and delivered by specialists in their respective areas, and the events calendar is also available on the website 24/7. And we will be offering self-guided, on-demand professional development opportunities in the near future as well. Thanks.
Lauren. All right, so we'll now move to provide an overview of the application process. I'm going to drop the website where the application is located in the chat now. The application is live. So application materials can be found on that PHLpreK website. We will show you where to locate it now. We can go right to the PHLpreK website. Okay, so if you scroll down, it'll be right under after it talks about application or application info sessions. It's under how to apply. And so you can review the application materials. You can click on the English version or the Spanish version. And then right below that, you can submit an application in the web platform. So clicking on English and Spanish will take you right to that online platform. In the application materials, if you go into that on the last page, you're going to be able to click on the link to get to all of the application questions if you'd like to see that in advance. It's in a Word document. if you want to gather all your documents beforehand, but you do need to submit in the web platform. Okay, so next, here's the timeline of the application process. So be sure to mark your calendars for these dates and check the website for any updates. So the application released on Monday, it's available now. Our application sessions, this is our last session today for the application info sessions. But the recording and slides will be on the PHLpreK website if you want to refer back to them, or know anybody else that had missed the application sessions and wants to review that. The deadline to submit any application questions, any questions that you have on the application materials is Friday, December 13th. We'll take all of those questions and any questions we got through the application information session and put it into an FAQ document that will be posted to the PHLpreK website by January 2nd. The application deadline is January 21st at noon. You must submit in the web-based platform, and the system will not let you submit after the deadline. PHMC is releasing the application on behalf of the city to fund quality pre-K slots in September 2025. The city's vision is to provide over 5,500 seats by the next program year and to develop an integrated system of accessible early learning services for Philadelphia families. If awarded a PHLpreK contract, PHLpreK provides a minimum of 5.5 hours of instructional time, 180 days of service from September 2025 to June 2026. Reimbursement at $10,500 per approved slot and monthly payments at $1,050 per approved child. Providers are encouraged to combine PHLpreK funding with Childcare Works and may not charge additional fees for PHLpreK funded hours. PHLpreK is open to all 3- and 4-year-olds who live in Philadelphia, and children must be 3 on or before September 1st, 2025, and be younger than kindergarten entry age. Our focus is to encourage enrollment of children in areas with high poverty, a large presence of children at risk for poor health and educational outcomes, and a shortage of early learning opportunities. We also encourage enrollment for children from families experiencing homelessness, English language learners, and children with special needs.
Thank you, Carrie. Hello, everyone. My name is Brittany, one of your contract coordinators, and I will be discussing the application eligibility throughout the next couple of slides. So the eligibility criteria for new providers. So this RFQ is intended to develop a pool of providers for slot awards to help support program expansion and or the redistribution of existing contracts. Only responses to this application for new sites will be eligible to contract with the intermediary or its designee and receive city fundings for Philly Pre-K during the fiscal year 2026. It is anticipated that a request for applications for program expansion will occur in future years. And all funding is contingent upon the availability of appropriations. General requirements. Providers, you need to be licensed and in full compliance with the Department of Human Services or the Pennsylvania Department of Education. You should also be a quality community-based childcare program that operates within the city of Philadelphia. This would include centers, groups, family childcare, school district, and Head Start sites as well. PA-DHS compliance will be reviewed for all applicants. Providers with an active DHS negative sanction at the point of submission will be still reviewed. However, all issues need to be resolved prior to contracting. Please also note that no contracts will be issued to providers with a negative sanction. Additionally, a history of noncompliance will be factored into the application review process. Providers that are not licensed through the Pennsylvania Department of Education or the Department of Human Services, but licensed through an Octal alternative pathways to STARS may also still apply, but your location must have a STARS designation. If you're a provider wishing to move your PHL pre-K operation from a currently funded location to a new location, or if you wish to just apply for a location that was not funded in FY25, you will be required to complete the full competitive RFQ for new providers. All right, so we'll move on to STAR level. Providers with STAR 3 and STAR 4 programs are eligible to apply. Providers with a STAR 1 and STAR 2 programs are also eligible to apply. However, you must consider the following. You must demonstrate a commitment to moving up in STARS, and you're expected to achieve at least a minimum of a STAR 3 within the required timeline. For new providers, you'll need to submit a STAR 3 waiver and action plan upon notice of award. And just to note, while we are discussing STAR levels, this an additional information in conjunction with the ELRC. Any provider location that is not already a STAR 3 or STAR 4, but you are making progress, we just want to note and encourage and appreciate your efforts thus far. However, there is not an expectation that the ELRC will give any priority for movement just because you are now applying to become a PHL pre-K applicant. The ELRC will be completing their designation activities based on their priorities that are established by Octal, and they will not accept any letters from quality coaches on your behalf. All right, so we're talking about unrated locations. Unrated locations of existing STAR 3 and STAR 4 providers are eligible to apply. If awarded funds, you must demonstrate a commitment to moving up and to achieve your STAR 3 within a required timeline. New location sites may have a provisional DHS license that would be due to, obviously being a new licensed facility. So those sites are expected to still reach full licensure and a STAR 3 within a required timeline. If you're a new location and you may be awaiting a provisional licensure, if maybe perhaps your site went under some construction or renovations, your site will not receive a contract or cannot proceed with enrolling your children if the provisional license is not obtained by July 1st, 2025. Those sites are still expected to reach a STAR 3 within a time frame that is approved by OCF. Application acknowledgement. This application is a competitive bid for grants and will be awarded based on the criteria described in this presentation. Providers, you as an applicant must acknowledge that this application is strictly for the purpose of gaining knowledge of services and expertise available and is not a commitment nor a promise of service award from the intermediary. If the intermediary chooses to award a contract, it will be awarded based on the applicant whose proposal is the most advantageous to the city and in the city's best interest. And now we'll pass it to Theo. Thank you.
Thanks, Brittany. Yeah, I'm Theo. I'm also one of the contracts coordinators, and I will be going over funding priorities. So funding decisions will be prioritized by 3 tiers. These factors were selected in part due to recommendations from a 2022 report from Pillars Research and Strategy that identified strategies for how PHLpreK could expand to best fit the needs of Philadelphia's children and families. So tier 1 is current PHLpreK and pre-qualified providers. So this includes provider locations contracted with PHLpreK for the current program year and who completed the FY26 continuation form, and provider locations who are pre-qualified for the current program year who complete the RFQ for new provider locations for 2026. Pre-qualified locations in priority zip codes that have achieved a minimum of a STAR 3 will be prioritized. Tier 2 is based on priority zip codes and STAR level. So we'll talk about priority zip codes more in the next slide. For tier 2, the priority is *3 or *4 providers in a priority zip code, and then *1 or *2 providers in priority zip codes. And then tier 3 is other locations that don't meet tier 1 or tier 2 criteria and will include, in no particular order, family childcare providers, providers serving dual language learners, providers with multiple public preschool funding streams, providers serving infants and toddlers. PHLpreK cannot be used for infants and toddlers, and this group is just listed to promote continuity of care. Providers offering non-traditional hours, and once again, PHLpreK funds cannot be used outside of PHLpreK hours, and this group is listed just to promote continuity of care, and then also star level. Okay, so for priority zip codes. So in an effort to ensure PHLpreK seats are distributed equitably, OCF's Performance Management and Technology Division analyzed existing data to assess needs at the zip code level. Please note that OCF reserves the right to consider other factors in conjunction with the priority zip code data in determining whether a location would be considered for future PHLpreK funding. 17 zip codes met at least one of the priority selection criteria this year, which is one more than last year's analysis. The analysis looked at population, poverty, early childhood risk factors, and publicly funded high-quality seats. The analysis identified 17 priority zip codes, and those zip codes are listed on this slide, that satisfied at least one of the following factors: a low number of publicly funded pre-K seats per child, a high number of children with 2 or more risk factors without high-quality public pre-K seats, and a high number of children in poverty without high-quality public pre-K seats. And this information is also included in the application documents for reference. So next, I will be going over the selection criteria for PHLpreK. So applicants will be evaluated on the following: the ability or capacity to meet PHLpreK requirements, the prior experience of applicants and staff, the ability to meet the needs of target zip codes and vulnerable populations, the demonstrated efficiency in business practices, and benefit of promoting long-term competitive development and allocation of experience to new or small businesses, including those owned by minority or people with disabilities or by women. So for more selection criteria, the ability to use funds appropriately and in support of the PHLpreK program goals, complying with all city vendor requirements, a valid Pennsylvania DHS or PDE license in good standing, or license through alternative pathway with STARS designation, ability to show that the requirements of the program are well understood, and this could be through a staffing plan that demonstrates the ability to accommodate the requested seats with staff meeting PHLpreK education requirements. Having the availability of vacant seats not occupied by a child currently being funded through pre-K counts or Head Start, and having the license capacity for the number of slots requested, and the slot request does not exceed 75% of your license capacity. Application questions, as we said before, application questions are due to PHMC by Friday, December 13th. You can send them to phlpreK@phmc.org, and they will be posted to the website. Due to the city's procurement process, we will not be able to answer individual questions after this date. So now we will take a break to answer any questions.
All right. So we had a few questions in the chat, which I tried to get to. So somebody had a clarification saying that there were 2 deadlines. So as Theo just mentioned, there is a deadline by Friday. That's only if you have questions on application materials. You do not have to submit questions if you don't have any. But the deadline for us to answer any questions, put together the answers for those questions is this Friday. The application submission deadline for all providers is January 21st, 2025 at noon. There was another question about the recording, and slides, so we will have the recording and the slides available on the PHL Pre-K website by the end of the week. So check the website for that. Someone had a specific question about, undergoing an ownership change, and we can follow up by email to get more specifics about your question, so we can answer that appropriately. Someone was asking about priority zip codes and if you need to be in priority zip codes to apply. So you do not have to be in the priority zip code to apply. There are many factors that go into the selection process. Someone is asking about star levels and what star level you need to apply. So if you are any star level, you are eligible to apply. And if you missed any information and came in late, you can review the recording and see also the slides on the PHL Pre-K website by the end of the week. So again, about the priority zip codes, you do not have to be in the priority zip code to apply or be awarded seats. There are many factors that go into the selection process. So we encourage you to apply. Why don't we move on to the next section and we can get to as many questions as we can along the way. So keep putting them in, but we want to make sure to get through all of the content of this presentation. Okay, so performance expectations, I will drop this in the chat box right here. Please make sure to review the PHL Pre-K performance service and performance expectations. They're also in the application materials. We're taking the time to review these with you today so that you have an understanding of what you will be responsible for if awarded seats. All PHL Pre-K providers will be expected to provide certain services and will be monitored on their performance. So around performance expectations, PHL Pre-K providers are expected to maintain safe and legal operations, follow CDC guidelines following the end of this COVID-19 emergency, provide overall program quality, maintaining good standing in stars. That's being a star 3 or 4. And if you're not already at that level, becoming a star 3 in a required time frame. And that's typically by the end of the program year. Conducting marketing and recruitment to maintain 100% enrollment, delivering quality developmentally appropriate practices using the required curriculum and tools or submitting for waivers. The developmental screening tool is Ages and Stages Questionnaire, 3rd edition, and Ages and Stages Questionnaire, Social Emotional. The curriculum is Teaching Strategies, Creative Curriculum for Preschool, and our outcomes assessment tool is Teaching Strategies Gold Online. We also want to ensure adequate program dosage for children. That's 5.5 hours of service for over 180 days. And recruiting and retaining qualified staff that meet PHL Pre-K credentials. And we'll go into that in the next section about what those credentials are or what the PHL Pre-K requirements are. Next is comprehensive service expectations. So supporting family need for early learning and childcare services, following appropriate health and nutrition standards, partnering with families and caregivers to support children's learning and development, and supporting kindergarten transition. For reporting expectations, PHL Pre-K providers are to keep accurate records and enter data into defined databases, including the PD registry, Childware, Teaching Strategies Gold Online, and ASQ Online. Engaging in the project and continuous improvement of the system. So that means things like participating in the PHL Pre-K external evaluation and complying with any monitoring requests. Around fiscal expectations, PHL Pre-K providers are expected to utilize funds appropriately and completing various reporting requirements, including expense reports, external reviews, or monthly invoicing. and then also complying with the general provisions of the city of Philadelphia. Now we're going to review some of the questions you'll be asked on the PHLpreK application. And we do ask these questions for a reason. And that's because they relate to what you'll do as a PHLpreK provider if you're awarded funding. So as we go through this section, you should be thinking about what your current practices are and where you need, what might need to make changes if you're awarded PHLpreK seats. And I'll pass it to Brittany, who would take you through this section.
Thank you, Carrie. Hello, everyone again. So this is the program quality and operations. And like Carrie mentioned in this section, we just wanted to further detail some of the questions that you'll see on the RFQ application components. And we want to detail the questions that you'll be asked. And then if you're awarded, how you will then need to maintain those standards. So on the application, you'll be asked about your STAR level and any other accreditations that your center might have, as well as your site characteristics. This could include your operating hours that you offer, whether or not you have outdoor play space for your children, and also if you prepare food on site and whether or not you participate in the Child and Adult Care Food Program, also known as CACFP. And the reason behind these questions, because if you're awarded, you'll need to consistently maintain a safe and legal program throughout your whole operation. Obviously, that would be GHS compliant, and you need to provide overall program quality. You need to be in good standings with STAR, especially for current STAR 3 or STAR 4 providers. And then additionally, if you're a growth provider entering into the PHLpreK system with less than a STAR 3, you'll want to reach that STAR 3 status that is required by the timeline outlined for you. So enrollment and eligibility. On the application, you'll see you'll be asked about your current enrollment and funding streams and how many PHLpreK slots you would want to request, and then also the space available to accommodate that selection. And the reason for that is because we want to make sure that you have additional vacant seats not only currently funded by pre-K counts or Head Start. We want to make sure that PHLpreK slots do not exceed 75% of your license capacity at your location. Enrollment and attendance. On the application, you will be asked to complete an enrollment and recruitment plan. This will outline the activities that you conduct from at least May to September to recruit your families to your location. So you'll also want to describe your current enrollment and intake process for those activities. And the reason for that, because if you're awarded, you'll need to conduct continuous marketing and recruitment to ensure eligible families receive the needed services. You want to make sure that you're always at 100% enrollment with a wait list, and also to ensure and monitor regular attendance for the children, and also that they receive adequate program dosage that provides resources to not only them, but as well as their families when absence are due to hardships. Developmentally appropriate practices. On the application, you will be asked about your developmental screening tools, your curriculum and outcome assessment tools that you're currently using. And also know you don't have to currently be using the required PHLpreK tools right now. But if awarded, you will need to deliver quality, developmentally appropriate educational services. You'll need to commit to using a required curriculum and tool, or submit a waiver for an alternative curriculum. Just to reiterate, the tools that PHLpreK currently are using is Ages and Stages questionnaire, the 3rd edition, which is ASQ3. And Ages and Stages questionnaire social emotional, which is ASQ SE. For curriculum, it's Teaching Strategies Creative Curriculum for Preschool, and the outcome assessment tool is the Teaching Strategies Gold online. Data responsibility. So we just mentioned a bunch of different items that come along with data entry and reporting responsibilities in different databases. So on the application, you will be asked what current databases that you're using, and who supports that data entry at your organization. And the reason for this, because if you're awarded, you will be required to enter data in multiple data systems. As Carrie mentioned, this would include the PD registry, also the outcomes assessment in TSG, and child enrollments in childcare on a continual basis. We want to make sure that you're keeping accurate records and enter data into these defined databases by the required deadlines and the checkpoints. You will be monitored on your performance. Additionally, the allocation of resources is necessary, and this may include time, staff, and technology that data entry plays closely with. Staffing. On the application, you will be asked to complete a staff qualifications table. This table is to provide information about the staff who will be in your PHLpreK classrooms. If you don't have the staff that meet the requirements, you can indicate that on the application. You will be asked also about the stability of your current staff, as well as staff turnover and your staff benefits. And the reason for this, because if awarded, you want to make sure that you are continuously recruiting or retaining the qualified staff that's needed for the classroom, but also meet the PHLpreK credential requirements. On the next slide, will be a little more specifics about the staff qualifications, and then if waivers are needed for their eligibility. Any classroom with more than 10 children needs to have a lead teacher as well as an assistant teacher. And you also need to document staff credentials in the PD registry. All staff at your location must have a verified career pathway. Performance expectations. So PHLpreK staff credential requirements must align with the PA career pathway. And like I said, we will be sending out these slides, so the link is included, and they can also be found on the PA Keys website. To the box on the left, you'll see the PHLpreK staff credential requirements for each position. So feel free to detail this closely once you receive the slides, or send any questions you may have to our inbox. And then on the right side, you'll see the requirements for what is required for that career pathway for that staff in that slot. So for example, if you're an assistant teacher, you need to have a minimum of a level A on the career pathway. And if you're applying to be a lead teacher, you need to have a minimum of a level B, which includes at least a verified degree in the PA Keys website. All right, so lastly, I will detail about the fiscal practices. On the application, you will be asked about your financial management systems that you currently have in place. This would potentially include what kind of accounting software you're using, if you have a CPA, internal or external fiscal staff. You will also be asked to provide examples of such financial reports. This could include your income statement, any balance sheets, your operating budget, any recent audits or taxes filed. And the reason for this, because if awarded, you'll need to ensure that you have a successful financial management system that allows you to track revenue as well as expenses and be able to produce financial reports. It is highly encouraged to use an accounting software and/or an accountant or a bookkeeper. You'll need to be able to spend funds accordingly to an approved program budget, while also reporting out on those expenses. Also, you'll be required to complete a mid and end of year fiscal expense reporting. And additionally, external fiscal reviews that can be completed by a CPA may be required depending on the level of city, state, and federal funds you receive. You will also need to comply with Philadelphia's 21st century minimum wage and benefit standard, which is $16.35 for this program year, as well as FY26. And the amount of seats requests on the application does directly influence your the fiscal reviews. So it's important to reflect on the practices that you have in place now to meet these expectations to come. So now we will take another break for any questions that you may have.
Okay, so going through it, I'm sorry if I missed any questions, but I'll try to get to some of them. Do we have a number of possible new seats for the school year? We don't have a specific number right now. It will depend on, city funding available. If you are a current provider undergoing expansion and the new site is not currently open, are you still able to apply? So unrated locations of existing star 3 and star 4 providers are eligible to apply. Is teaching strategies and the curriculum provided if selected for slots? Yes, TSG, the creative curriculum and training will be provided for PHL pre-K classrooms. Someone was just asking about enrollment of children, from different funding streams, and if children are in your program, if they're able to transition into PHL pre-K. And so, yeah, the answer is yes. If children are already funded through childcare works or private pay, they are eligible to enroll when they are age eligible. But children currently funded through pre-K Count and Head Start cannot be converted into PHL pre-K seats. Someone was asking about how parents apply. So we do have an online application system. This launched this previous year. It's called Free Philly Pre-K. Families can apply online, or they can fill out a application, a paper application, and apply directly to the provider. We do encourage folks to apply online, though. Someone is asking a specific question about enrolling children in their program already that are that are turning 3, I'm sorry. And yes, you can definitely enroll children that are turning 3 and transitioning from your younger year program into pre-K. All right. Someone was asking about the zip code again. So you do not have to be in the priority zip codes to apply. Why don't we go to the next section now, because we'll be talking through some of the, we'll be talking through the application itself and doing a demo, and we'll be talking through the financial documents that you need to upload.
All right, so completing the FY26 PHL pre-K application. So instructions on completing the application are in the application and in the instructions page in the web platform. So we're taking time to review these with you today so that you know what to expect and to provide some helpful tips on the best way to complete the application. So the online submission process. So all applications must be submitted via the web-based system. The application is available in both English and in Spanish. The link is available here and can also be found on the PHL pre-K website. You will scroll on how to apply and click on the link under submit an application in the web platform. You'll need to complete an application for each site that you are applying for. So when completing an application, give yourself plenty of time. Do not wait until the last minute. Read all the information before completing the application. Gather and complete all documents that you will need to upload. Read and reread your submission for accuracy, spelling, and completeness. There is no login for the website application. The person that you put as the primary contact will receive all emails after saving or submitting with a link, and that link will allow you to go back in and edit after you submit or before you submit when you save. Complete all required fields. You will receive a prompt if left blank, and you cannot move forward if a required field is not completed. And so we will go over this more when I demo the application, but I just wanted to highlight some features that you will see. in the web platform. So next advances you to the next page in the application, but does not save. Press save to save any information entered in the application and resume it at a later date. When you click save, you will be emailed a link to access your in-progress form. If you would like to have multiple people collaborate on one application, you can do that. If they have the link, the confirmation email will go to whoever is put as the primary contact, but you can send that person the edit link, and then they will be able to go into the application and edit. Submit will submit your application for review. You may edit a submitted application up until the deadline. The system will not allow you to submit or edit after the deadline. And again, that is January 21st, 2025 at noon. So how to save and submit. So first you will begin an application. Then you will save your progress and resume through a link sent via email. You'll submit prior to the deadline, again, January 21st at noon. And you can edit a submitted application until the deadline using that link in your confirmation email. So this is what it looks like when you click save. Again, there's no login. After you click save, you will be sent an email with that link, and that will be the link that you will use to edit your application. So this is what the confirmation email will look like. So upon successful submission of your application, you will receive a confirmation that your application was received. It will have your site name and your site address and a PDF copy of your submission. Please make sure that you review that PDF copy to make sure that it's all accurate. If you need to, you can go back into your submission to edit it after the deadline. So at the bottom here where it says click here to edit your submission, that is a hyperlink. And so if you click that, that will take you right back into your application, and you can edit it from there. So these are the fillable items on the application. So there's going to be an introduction section. You'll enter legal entity information, a primary contact, site information, star level and license information, enrollment information, how many PHLpreK slots you're requesting, recruitment and enrollment information, staffing information, fiscal practices, developmentally appropriate practices, your kindergarten transition practices. You'll enter some disclosure questions. You'll select what kind of supports you would need. You'll answer some family demographic questions. Who does the data collection at your site? You'll answer tax questions, and then there'll be some required uploads. So these are the required uploads. They're mainly fiscal documents, and there's some program documents as well. If awarded seats, providers may be asked to submit additional documents as well as part of the contracting process. So here's additional information that will be needed. So there's a staff qualifications table where you'll enter information on current or prospective staff. Enrollment and recruitment plan. So you'll list enrollment and recruitment activities. And then there'll be a tax statement where you'll say if you use your EIN or your social security number, and then you'll answer some questions there as well. Once again, if you have any questions about the application, you can submit them in writing by Friday, December 13th. To the PHLpreK email, which is phlprek@phmc.org. And if at any point you have technical issues with the application, you can also email that email address as well. And we are happy to help you with any technical issues or questions that you have about the application. Okay, so now I will demo the application, and this demo application is the same as the actual application. The only thing that is different is that I have unrequired all of the questions. So in the actual application, these questions are required, but I've unrequired them so that we could go through them quickly. So the first page is just some instructions, some like introduction part. So it just talks a little bit about what the application is, the eligibility, and the service and performance expectations. So here's instructions. It's saying that you will apply through a web-based platform, that you can save and resume, that you'll submit it, and then it lists the documents and templates that are embedded within the application. So on this page, you will put your legal entity information, so your legal entity name and address, phone number and website, how your organization is structured, the number of years your legal entity has been in operation, and then some questions, depending on how you answer, more questions will populate. So for example, if you say yes, that your organization is owned by a minority or a woman disabled individual, if you say yes, then another question populates. So I just wanted to highlight that as well. So next you will enter the information for the primary contact for this application. This is the person who will receive notifications about the status of the application. And this is also the person who, when you click save, they will receive the link. So you will put their name, their job title, their address, the phone number, and their email, and then you will click next. Then you'll put site information, so site name, MPI, site address, site contact name, site contact job title, phone number, email, and then how many years the site has been in operation. And so at any point, if you want to, you should save it. You should save continuously as you go, but if at any point you want to save it and leave and come back, you can just click save down here. And so this is a unique link to your application. So this link will let you come back directly into your application. When you enter an email into the primary contact email, this email address will automatically populate here, but you can also change it to be any email address you want. So you'll put that email address in and then you'll click send, and you will get that email address will get an email with this link here as well. So the next page is star level and license information. So you'll select that site's star level, if you have any national accreditation, and if you have a PA Department of Education license. If you say yes, on the last page that asks for required uploads, then you will be asked to upload your Department of Education license. So the next page is site characteristics. So your site type, service hours, and then PHLpreK hours, services that will be offered at the site. So before care, after care, summer care. Then you'll answer these other site questions. So if you have outdoor play space, access to a community center, do you prepare food on site? What food service vendor do you use, and do you participate in CACFP? And then you'll answer enrollment of children questions. So this is as of December 1st. So how many children of what ages are currently served at this site? So you'll answer these questions. And then you'll answer these funding questions. So do you have families that are in private pay, CCW, Head Start, pre-K counts? And have you had a significant change in enrollment compared to last year? And if you answer yes to these questions, more questions will populate as well. So the next page is slot in classrooms. So you will select the number of slots being requested for this location and how many you anticipate to be filled by children who are currently 2 and will be 3. And then across how many classrooms do you anticipate these seats to be distributed? And then the next is the enrollment and recruitment plan. So you will complete this plan with your enrollment and recruitment activities. So you will put in the start date, the activity description, the roles responsible, and the activity end date, and you can just click here to add activities. And we also give you some examples here as well. And then you'll select what activities are a part of your enrollment and intake process, and how are families notified that they have a place in your program. Next is staffing. So this is the staff qualifications table. So you'll complete this for current staff and vacant positions that you intend to work in PHLpreK classrooms. So you'll select the position, whether it's a current employee, their first and last name, is the career pathway level verified, their PD registry ID number, and the career pathway level, and then you can click to add staff. And then you'll just answer some of these staffing questions down here. And then you'll select what type of benefits you offer to your staff. Next is fiscal practices. So you'll just answer these questions about your fiscal practices. So if you have a set of accounting policies and procedures, how often your income and expense statements are prepared, if you use internal staff, or an external accounting professional. Developmentally appropriate practices. So you'll select the primary curriculum that's used at this location. If the teachers offer bilingual instruction to the class, and so if that's a yes, then you'll select the languages. If the teachers provide bilingual or multilingual support one-on-one to students, and if that's a yes, then you'll select the languages here as well. And then developmental screening. So then you'll select the developmental screening tool your program currently uses. And then outcomes assessment. So then you'll select the outcomes assessment your program uses. Next is kindergarten transition. So you will answer some questions about your kindergarten transition practices. So if you coordinate with any of the following organizations around kindergarten transition, how you track kindergarten registration, how you share kindergarten transition information with families, and what information about kindergarten transition do you share with families. Next are the disclosure questions. So you will just answer these questions. Next are supports. So there's business and program supports. So you will check all that apply here of what type of business supports would you need to be successful in the PHLpreK program. And then in which of the following areas would you like additional support? So you'll just check all that apply for both of those questions. Family demographics. So if you collect this information, you will answer these questions. Data collection responsibility. So what data systems you currently use at your program. And then the contract signature information. So this would be the person who would sign the notice of award and the contract if your program was awarded seats. So you'll just put their first and last name, their job title, and their phone and email address. Next is the tax and clearance statement for applicants. So you'll just put the applicant name, contact name, title, address, phone number. You'll specify if you use an EIN or social security number. And then you'll just enter these numbers here. And if you don't have it, you can just put none. You'll answer this certification question. You'll choose one of these two options, and then you'll just sign it here and name and title here. So next is the income statement. So you can either upload an income statement or you can complete the template. So if you have an income statement that you would like to upload, you can click upload and there will be the option to just upload it, which you can do right here. Or if you would like to complete the template, you can click complete template, and then you will put in your fiscal year start date, and there's a whole template right here for you to complete. So you'll just enter the amounts in this amount column for each line item that applies to you, and then the amounts will automatically calculate down here. So you can just complete this right in here. And so the same for a balance sheet. So if you have a balance sheet that you would like to upload, you can do it right here. You can click upload my balance sheet and you can just upload it. Or if you would like to complete the template, you can do it right here. So this is a required question, right? So if we don't complete it, right? If we scroll down and we don't complete it, it will not let me move on. It will highlight it red. So that's if you are trying to move on and it won't let you, you probably missed a required question. So this is the balance sheet that is the template. So you will, same thing with the income statement, you will just fill out the amounts here and it will automatically calculate the totals for you in each category. And so next are the required uploads. So these are based on the selections throughout the application. So if you said that you had a education license, then that would appear here as well. So you will upload the required documents and then you will click next.
So just on this, those financial documents, I know some folks have been asking about what for if they're applying for an unrated location, but they do have a star 3 or 4 in their legal entity. Some of those sites won't have some financial documents available. So all applicants must submit at least their current operating budget. If you do not have any of the other requested documentation, please upload a memo in the required, in one of these uploads. You can do it in all of the uploads if you want. Detailing why don't you have the financial documents, saying that you recently opened, when your site opened, and your timeline for when these documents will be available.
All right, and so once you upload all those required uploads, then the last page is just the acknowledgements and attestations. So you will read the acknowledgement and attestations here, and then you will put your legal entity, your first and last name, and then you will sign it, and then you will click submit. And so then once you submit it, you will get that confirmation email that says that you submitted it, that we received it. And then there will also be you will also see a link to edit. And once again, you can edit anytime up until that deadline.
Okay, so now we try to get through some more questions. Let's see, I'm going to try to go back up to see if I can answer or highlight those that we've answered already as well, so everybody has their same information. So someone was asking about the minimum wage amount. So the city's minimum wage requirement in this program year 2024 to 2025 is $16.35 for PHLpreK staff. It typically goes up a little bit every year. Someone was asking about the priority zip codes again, and you do not have to be in the priority zip code to apply. There are just many factors that go into the selection process, and you can review those factors as well. They are in the application materials. Someone was asking about the tax documents. Theo just went over the financial documents you need to submit, but I did want to highlight that you can go back to the application. You can start the application. You can save it and go back to it if you don't have all those documents ready to upload at the time that you're completing the application. But they all do need to be submitted by that deadline of January 21st in the online platform, and we will not accept any applications after that deadline, and they will need to be submitted. Someone just was asking about the number of seats in family childcare. I don't have that number offhand. We can certainly put that in the FAQ, and do have a number of family providers in the PHLpreK system. Again, we don't have a specific number of seats that we're expanding by this year. It will depend on city funding available. Someone's asking about stacking programs if you already have pre-K counts or ELRC. So we do encourage a wraparound care. If you are awarded PHL pre-K seats, to be using Child Care Works money to provide full day service. It cannot be stacked with pre-K counts. Someone is asking about using a different curriculum than creative curriculum, which is the required curriculum of PHL pre-K. So providers can submit a waiver for a different curriculum. It needs to be on the opt-out approved list, and you'll need to complete the waiver form, and it needs to be approved by PHL pre-K before the program year. Someone is asking about the priority zip codes. Would we be able to go back to that slide for a
Yeah.
minute? Get back to that. So the priority zip codes were identified by the Office of Children and Families. They are the 17 listed here. These are the priority zip codes. And so they have at least 1, 2, or 3 checks within these numbers of low number of publicly funded pre-K seats per child, high number of children with 2+ risk factors without high quality public pre-K seats, and a high number of children in poverty without high quality public pre-K seats. So those are the 17 priority zip codes identified. Again, you do not need to be in a priority zip code to apply, and there's just many factors that go into the decision-making process. Someone was asking about teachers, and do you need to have those teachers on staff with PHL pre-K credentials at the time of application? So you don't need to have them at the time of application. While it's certainly helpful, they will just need to be on staff by the time the PHL pre-K program starts. Someone was asking about notifications. If you submit an application, when should you expect to hear back? We are hoping to send out all notifications, at least initial ones, by the end of February 2025. The applications are already out. They are on the PHL pre-K website. This is for any new locations. Can you apply for PHL pre-K for a new site? Yes, this is the opportunity. This application is for new sites. The organizational budget should be your entire, or you should just submit a budget for your entire organization in the uploads. This meeting is for new locations only. This is for the application for new sites that are not currently funded this program year. Someone else is asking about a center that is not yet open yet, if that they can apply. So unrated locations can apply if you have a legal entity, a star 3 or 4 site within your legal entity. We do not have a template for the operational budget. And that would be for your current organizational operational budget. We don't have the amount of city funding that will be available for next year. That's going to depend on budget hearings and things like that. The application, can we go to the timeline again?
Yes.
So you do need to fill out an application for each site that you are applying, each new site that you are applying for. All right, so here we go. Again, we wanted to remind everybody about the deadlines. So again, the applications, the applications were released on Monday of this week. They are available on the PHLpreK website. We will also have the recording and slides available by the end of the week on that website too. This is the last of the application info sessions. So if you would like to review any of the recording or slides, they will be on that website. The deadline to submit any application questions. So if you review the application materials or you have any other questions that you think of, please send them to us via email by this Friday, December 13th. We'll take all of those questions and those we received through the application information sessions, and then put them all together and post them in a document in English and Spanish on the website by January 2nd. And then also the application deadline, it needs to be in by January 21st, 2025 at noon. You'll need to submit in the web platform. And then also the system will not let you apply after the deadline. I can go back and take any other questions. So currently funded pre-K sites in PHLpreK right now submitted the FY26 continuation form. So the email to send questions, I think we can go, I think it's on the slide right before.
There we
Or there it is, PHLpreK@phmc.org, and we can. Drop that in the chat now. So please, yeah, email any questions to us by December 13th, that's this Friday. You do not need to sign in for this session. Attending is not mandatory, although we highly encourage attending application information sessions or viewing them to get a full picture of what the application is about. All right, well, thank you so much. That concludes our session for today. Please send us any questions and we hope to see your applications. Thanks all. Have a great day.